What's up, guys? Back in me here with the Foster, Season 5, Episode 2, Exterminate Her. Okay, so this episode starts off with Steph, Callie, and Lena in a car, and they start how Troy Johnson confessed, and Steph's like, that doesn't mean that you're off the hook. That doesn't mean that you're off the hook, Callie. And doesn't mean just because Troy Johnson confessed doesn't mean that you're off the hook. So yeah, so basically, Steph leaves, and yeah, so Steph leaves, and Lena's like, she's just scared and terrified. She just didn't know where you were, so that's why she's mad. So basically, yeah. So then we see, Brandon, and he's getting texts from Grace, the one from season 4. And yeah, so basically he gets a call one day from her. He's looking for jobs, and he basically gets a call one day from her and goes to her apartment to discover that she's handcuffed to her bed. And he's like, Grace, did anyone hurt you? And she's like, no one hurt her. And yeah, so anyway, so he uncuffs her, and he's like, I gotta get to work. And Grace is just like, come on. Yeah. She later reveals that she wanted to, anyway. So, before we get to that, we see after they got home from the beginning of the episode, I just wanted to mention that. Robert's like, hey, the charges against Callie were dropped. And Mario's like, hip hip hooray! And yeah, so Steph's basically like, Robert, Callie makes reckless decisions. Callie makes reckless decisions. We shouldn't celebrate that. And Steph's like, and Robert's like, is there something I don't know about? But yeah, so they're basically like, they have that the person that Callie's being is not the right Callie. So they're like, do you want her to? And they got 4 teenagers to worry about. So they're like, does she want her to live with Robert? And she's like, and they're like, no. And she's like, did you catch up with Helen? The one from season 4 episode. The one from season 4. The one from that episode where the one where Callie put up her senior project. And she's like, no. So yeah, so Callie basically goes to her, and yeah. So Callie basically goes to her, and she's like, do you have a portfolio? And she's like, no. And she's like, well, there's always next year. And Kylie's like, I can't wait next year. And she basically gets into Robert's car, basically saying that art class is a waste, is not important. So basically, what does Robert do? He basically goes talk to Helen to get Callie back into. So Callie meets Matt, who we all know plays, if you watch my Arrowverse views, the actress who plays her, plays Spooner on Legends of Tomorrow, one of my Arrowverse shows that I watch, that I review over there. Check that out if you want to see more. Yeah. So she's like, Jimena is gonna let you shadow her. Callie's there to audit. So basically Emma, I mean not Emma. They're like, Jesus is like, not Jesus. Jesus is like, Emma is like, hey, are you still talking to Brandon? Are you still not gonna talk to Brandon? He's like, are you still not talking to Mariana? And she's like, well, that's different, Mar. And she's like, we're glad Mariana's not on the 7 team anymore, because Emma's glad that Mariana's not on the 7 team anymore, because like, at least she doesn't have to micromanage everybody. And yeah, because some seeds planted because of Emma, Jesus goes to confront Mariana and is like, hey, I want to do this on my own. But Mariana, taking no for an answer, basically goes to Gabe, and she's like, hey Gabe, can you tell Jesus that the school that it has to be both our senior project, and you can't take sides. So yeah, Mariana, not my favorite this season already. They kind of made your back because you know Mariana I don't like with his whole. So yeah, so he's just like, hey, I'm gonna ask. So yeah, so yeah, so the. So yeah, and so yeah, so then we meet the new neighbors, meeting Tess and Dean Bayfield. Which so yeah, so Dean, we meet the new neighbors, and Dean offers to give Steph, fix their fence. But when Tess and Logan meet Mariana and Lena, Mariana kind of hits it off with Logan. And they're like, "Are you gonna try Anchor Beach?" And they're like, "No, isn't that?" They kind of diss Anchor Beach by saying, "Isn't that?" And she's like, "Where does your kids go?" Anchor Beach Charter. So, yeah, diss Anchor Beach. Tess, if you want to make a first impression on Lena, don't diss her school, cause that's not a good first impression. So, yeah. So, so yeah. So, so Jesus discovers that he's not going to be a senior. So yeah, so Jesus discovers that he's not going to be a senior, and that basically, so Jesus is basically, so he's like, so he's like, oh yeah, Mariana, this want to be your project. You want to take over my project. You want to turn my project into your project. And she's like, Jesus, you gotta calm down. He's just, I'm not gonna calm down. She's like, you can go in your room and you can listen to me. So yeah, so while Emma's walking upstairs, she sees Jesus wrecking crashing his stuff. So basically, she decides to not say bye to him and basically just walk out of the house. But yeah, so Steph basically yelled at Gabe saying, if you're not gonna take our if you're not gonna take our thing as parents, you can just if you're not gonna wait, what she say? She's not gonna if you're not gonna like appreciate us as his parents, maybe you can just leave. So basically, Steph, yeah. So yeah. So after calming down, he decides to go downstairs, and it's like, and it's like, hey, so yeah, they're like, maybe the triage can still happen. Jesus would still have that. Gabe would have to borrow from Jesus' birth uncle, and I didn't know Jesus had a birth uncle till now. Yeah. So anyway, yeah. Yeah. So yeah. So anyway, Mariana, Jude, Noah, Taylor, and a bunch of other people are doing an underground protesting underground newspaper because they shut down their first one. But definitely, I just think it's Gabe entertaining. Like, they think it's Gabe entertaining. They're like, oh, Gabe's entertaining. But then it shows Mariana and everyone. Like, come on, Selena. Why would Gabe entertain people? Like, anyway, yeah. So back with Callie. After learning that he's Zeus, after learning that Robert paid for her money, she basically like, hey Jimena, and she's like, yeah, and she's like, where can you drive me somewhere? And she's like, where? And she's like, anywhere. And Jimena drives her to her derby practice, and she's like, you're on a derby team, and she's like, exterminate her. Basically, in the new episode is Jimena's name, and basically, yeah, and yeah. So yeah, so she's like, roller derby is where she can unleash her beast. And Kai's like, I wish I had somewhere I could unleash my beast. And Jimena's like, you do, your art. So yeah, so basically, so yeah, so yeah, so So Brandon basically goes to Grace and she's basically that she just wanted to do was seduce him, and they basically kiss and start dating basically. So Brace or Grandin is officially a couple. So that basically wraps up this episode basically. And I thought this episode was pretty good. It was a good episode for the final episode. For the final season episode, but for the final episode 2 episode of the final season of Foster, because final season now. So anyway, like, comment, subscribe, because have a wonderful night. I'll see you next to Foster.